Hello and welcome back to the Grateful Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Wagoner, and today I want to talk about transitions. This time of year is often a transitionary period for most of us. I know for me, Sunday, I'm moving to London to start a whole new chapter as a student in my life. And there's so many people my age everywhere in the world that are going to university right now, starting a new chapter, ending their summer chapter. And this isn't just a thing for people my age and students, but it's for parents who are sending their kids off to school. It's for people who are coming out of the summer, who are losing that good weather, losing their beach vacation vibes, and going back into work mode. So, I want to talk about how we can best navigate transitionary periods so that we can have joy, fulfillment, gratitude, and stay productive. So, something I've been thinking a lot about recently is obsession, and you'll see how this will tie into it in a second. But many people say that obsessed people are much more likely to succeed. Well, I would actually argue that obsessed people have an advantage. They can obsess over one thing, and that will make them more successful at that thing, depending on how they have a relationship, I guess, with their obsession. You see, there are two things that can happen. You can either control your obsession or let your obsession control you. And going into these fall months right here in the winter arc, winter arcs become a big thing. I want you to think about how you're going to have a relationship with your obsession. So, obsession without control is just burnout. When I let my obsession control me, I'm up till 3 a.m. working on stuff, and then I get up at 6 a.m. and I have no energy to keep going the next day. If you're not controlling your obsession, you're not going to get anything done. But if you're able to control your obsession, I think about it like I don't know, in like a movie when they have a beast in an arena or a bull, and you let it out and it has that burst of just super hard, effective energy, right? That is what it looks like when you control your obsession. You're able to pinpoint exactly where you want to put it and go boom, right toward that thing. Whereas when you're not controlling your obsession, when your obsession's controlling you, you have no direction. You're a little lost. You're aimless because you're going all in everywhere. You don't know when to stop. You're not resting. You're not recovering. And so the first thing when we're thinking about this transitionary period is like, obviously, there are going to be some nerves involved and there's going to be some other emotions, but you have to get your obsession under control. You have to get yourself back into a schedule and a routine where you can control your obsession, where you can focus your obsession into the most productive ways, because if not, you're going to burn out before it's even started. And you have to be consistent. You see, consistency, it is the minimum for success. Consistency is the bare minimum for success, but it's required. You need to be consistent in order to succeed. There's no success without consistency. What a lot of people get wrong is they think that consistency will automatically make them successful. If they just do the same thing over and over and over again, they will end up being successful. That's where they're wrong. I published 100 episodes of my podcast, and I haven't grown as much as I would like to because I I prioritize consistency over improvement. Consistency was necessary, but it wasn't the priority. The priority is getting better. So if your consistency is holding you back from improving, that's another thing that we need to work on in this transitionary period. Because over the summer, I get that you were out of routine. You were going on vacations, you were having a lot of fun. That was your priority. Your priority was to get out on the beach, live a little, maybe go surf. That's what I was doing. I know I've went on a ton of adventures this summer, but this fall, it's time to get more consistent, get a schedule so we can control that obsession, but also focus on improvement because your schedule is not necessary. You just need to be consistent. Alex Ramosi likes to talk about schedules in an interesting way. I'm sure most of you know who Alex Ramosi is, but he said if someone is so attached to their morning routine that if they don't do their 3-hour biohacking routine, they feel out of it, I'm gonna win because they are reliant upon something. So I want you to figure out how you can build systems in your life to help you be more consistent, to help optimize for improvement while not becoming reliant upon these systems. These systems are there to help you be better, not a crutch that you can lean on that if you for some reason miss the whole routine, that you just have a day where you get nothing done. That's happened to me before. I used to start my morning the same way every single day. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., I'd go for a run, I'd come back, take a cold shower, meditate for 20 minutes, then read a book. And then I'd get into my day. And I felt great when I did it. It definitely helped. But after doing it for months and months at a time, I became reliant upon this. If I didn't do it, I didn't get anything done the rest of the day because I had become so reliant upon this. My brain had been tricked into thinking that is a requirement for a successful day. So if I didn't get all of those steps done, which took a lot of effort, a lot of time, required me to go to bed early the night before, if I didn't get all of that done, the rest of my day was screwed because I had subconsciously been trained to think this whole entire morning routine is a requirement for me to be productive and successful today. So again, in this transitionary period, I want you to think about the routines that you can put into place that will help you, that will improve your productivity, your joy for the day, your presence, all of this. But you can't become reliant upon it. So what I ended up doing is I would take a day or two every week where I wouldn't do these things. I would get up and I would just start to work, and I would just start to, maybe I would sleep a little more. I would let myself be a little looser with my time because I'd built that discipline. That discipline had become a part of me, right? And so I wanted to become a little separated from that routine. So I would deviate. I would eat a different breakfast some day. I would mix it up, mix a little spontaneity in your day because that's also where you get creative. If your day is much just super mundane and you're doing the same thing every single day over and over and over again, your creative spark is going to shift off because you're not having new inputs into your life where you can get cool ideas. And that's something I read in Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Way, or yeah, I think The Creative Way, A Way of Thinking, The Creative Act. One of the best books on creativity I've ever read, or the best book on creativity I've ever read. He talked about how you need to mix up your inputs to have inspiration. So if you're trying to build something new this fall in this transitionary period, then you need to mix up your inputs, become more spontaneous so that you can have new ideas and reinvent yourself. Something that I've noticed a lot of people are doing on the internet these days as people trying to build things, to make content, is they become very stuck in their ways. And the algorithm on all these platforms is always changing. It's always mixing up. So if you're stuck in your ways, if something worked 2 years ago for you that got views, and then you're unable to switch that because you've become so accustomed to what you do, then you're going to get left behind. And this works with everything in life. You have to be able to reinvent yourself. You have to be able to adapt. That's part of the fun of life. If we're always living life the exact same way, like, what's the point of that? It's cool to do new things, try new things. It's a lot more effort, but there's a lot more reward for this extra effort. And see, that's where you can separate yourself from everyone else because everyone else wants to do the same thing that they've always done. They're comfortable with it. When you just step a little bit outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to get an edge on people. And when you realize that you can go a lot further than that, that's when you get a massive edge on people. It keeps compounding. The more you go outside your comfort zone, the less other people are going to want to go outside their comfort zones. The bigger a gap you're building between you, yeah, you might be regarded as weird for a little bit, but eventually that difference, that uniqueness, that's going to be what sets you apart and makes you successful. You see, what I'd encourage you to do in this new chapter, this ending of summer, this seasonal change, I would encourage you to let go of whatever you thought your old identity was, whoever you think you are. Let go of all these labels you put on yourself. Because the only thing holding you back from where you want to go is yourself. I learned this from David Meltzer, who I had on my podcast 2 weeks ago. He made $100 million by the time he was 31, felt empty, lost it all and gained it all back and more. And what he told me is the only thing that stood in between who he wanted to be and where he was him. The limiting beliefs that we have in our lives are all because of us. Sure, it may not be your fault that you believe the things that you believe, but it is your responsibility. The things in your life that you don't like, they may not be your fault. You may be the victim of certain things, but that victim mentality is not going to take them away from you, right? So it is your responsibility, even if it wasn't your fault. So think about how you want to differentiate yourself, because in this new chapter, it is all up to you. Your life is up to you. The steps in your life, it is up to you. You can just do it. You can just do things. So if you have the urge to do something, even if it is way out of the norm, go for it. Go for it. You can create the life that you want to create. You just have to have the courage to step outside your comfort zone a little bit, to become different. I don't want to be like everyone else. I'm not sure about you. I want to be unique. The only way to be unique, the only way to stand out is to do things that make you stand out. The only way to be different from everyone around you is to do different things than everyone around you. Everyone from where I live, my town, they're all going to school here, like around right where we grew up. I'm spending my first year in London because I want to be different. I want to do things that are different. I want to live my own life. I want to live a life that feels like truly mine, and I can only do that by making decisions that feel like truly mine. It's not about making decisions that are different than people just because they're different. You don't need to do that. You don't need to say, "Oh, they all chose that, so I'm going to choose the exact opposite thing just because." No, if that feels right to you, go for that. But you got to figure out what you want in your life. Become in tune with yourself. You got it. That is a quick podcast episode for you. I am leaving for London on Sunday. So the next few weeks on the Grateful Podcast may be a little bit slower than you're used to, but it's for a reason. As I said, consistency is just the bare minimum. So I no longer want to just publish episodes to publish episodes. I value you guys. Everyone listening to this, everyone watching this, I truly do value your time. You take time out of your days, out of your weeks to listen to me talk. And I'm so grateful for that. And each week, I'm committed to making what I'm giving you better, even in the smallest, simplest ways. This week, I decided to make this much less scripted. By much less, I mean I have no words that I'm going off of this week. Maybe I'm rambling a little bit, but this is the direction I would like to go on my solo podcast episodes because I get to connect with you more. That's what I want. That's what I think you are craving. Let me know if I'm wrong. But what I think you're craving, what I crave when I listen to a podcast, is to connect with the host and the guest, to be in the room with them. So I don't want to read you something that I've thought about, even if it is just notes. I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation. So I'm committed to improving. The next few weeks, that might mean that there is less consistency, but I've proven to myself that I can be consistent. I've proven to you guys that I can be consistent. And in the long term, I will be. But I'm not going to sacrifice the quality of what I give you just for the sake of consistency. I'll still publish something once a week. I promise that. But this week, there may not be a guest episode because I haven't spoke to a guest that I think deserves to be released to you guys. I hope that you're okay with that because I know that is the direction I want to take this. I want to be one of the greats. I'll be honest with you. I'm doing this for a lot of reasons, one of which is I'm in the pursuit of greatness. That it just, however egotistical that may sound, I want to be great. I believe I already am. It's about taking the action to show the rest of the world that. All right. I hope you guys have a great week. I really, really appreciate you just taking time out of your day to listen to this, hoping that it adds value to your life. It's amazing. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that takes time to listen to the Grateful Podcast. I hope to see you next week. Stay grateful.